Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to cover Marvel Spectacular starring the mighty Thor. My buddy Jan came in from Chicago about a month and a half ago, and he always brings me a stack of dollar books that he gets at this amazing comic shop in the suburbs of Chicago that has just an astounding selection of $1 and $2 books. And he grabbed these one day a month. They have a dollar book sale, and so he grabbed these three for me among a stack of other things. And this is a great reprint title, not one that we talk about as much. We kind of focus on Marvel superheroes, Marvel super action, but Marvel Spectacular was the title that Marvel settled on to reprint Thor's stories, mainly his Lee Kirby stories that started in Journey into Mystery 127, and then eventually the title was renamed as Mighty Thor or Thor. So he brought me these three sort of random issues, issue 14, 15, and 19. And I'm going to focus on issue 14, not because it's first in numerical order, but because it features just absolutely stunning Bill Everett inks on Jack Kirby pencils. Now, these other two issues are great, including the first Wrecker, but they feature Vince Colletta inks, and there's been a lot of negative stuff said about Vince Coletta's inks on Jack Kirby's pencils over the years, and I'm not here to bash Vince Colletta. I think he was a fine professional inker, and my other friend Jeff, who's a comic shop owner, Phantom of the Attic here in Pittsburgh, he talks about a joke that he heard someone say once that Vince Colletta had to finish inking those pages because he has a poker game to get to. There's always been accusations that maybe Vince Colletta would erase some of Kirby's backgrounds or just ink black over them or not do as full an inking job as he could have with Kirby's amazing pencils, which were probably really full pencils that he was working with. We're going to see a distinct difference here when we look at this Bill Everett, Jack Kirby art combination. And I like it better. Again, I'm not bagging on Vince Colletta. I think he's a fine inker. He was a total pro. But I prefer these Bill Everett inks to Vince Coletta's inks on Thor. All right. The tagline on the cover reads, Balder the Brave, the evil enchanters, the stunning Sif, panic in the city, this is it, true believer. And I do love these old reprints where you get the nice newsprint. Incidentally, this was published in 1974 by Marvel Comics, and it represents Thor 143, which was originally published in 1966 by Marvel Comics. The mighty Thor, and soon shall come the enchanters. Wow, I never thought the mighty Thor would come waltzing in here to slurp a soda that way. Even a thunder god may feel the pangs of thirst. From now on, that drink's going to be known as my Asgard Special. And we have our credits. Produced in living color by Stan the Man Lee and Jack King Kirby, embellished by Bill Everett, lettered by Sam Rosen, true believers all. No color credits, sadly. A strange beginning for a superhero saga. Thou dost think, thou suspectest not, the glory and grandeur awaiting thee within. So we'll turn the page here. Alas, I find I have no earthly coin of the realm upon my person. Forget it, mister, it's on the house. And now the son of Odin must be on his way. But Thor replies to him, so be it. Truly thy heart is as generous as thy nectar is sweet. And of course the crowd doesn't want Thor to leave. They want him to regale them with tales of Asgard. And so he gives them just a little bit. Clue us in, mister. You can't just eat and run. In truth, thine interest doth gladden the heart of Thor. But how can I describe that which is beyond the ken of mortal understanding? Nonetheless, I shall attempt to reveal the unrevealable. Thou must now attend my every word. Empty thy minds of all earthly thought, as I lead thee in spirit far beyond the lonely mortal vale. Yea, even beyond the most distant star, the farthest galaxy, the final universe, to the very edge of infinity. And there, across the shimmering rainbow bridge, beyond the reach of mortal time, there stands Asgard. Ever vigilant, ever alert, with the eye of a hawk, the heart of a lion, is Heimdall, eternal guardian of the golden gates. Heimdall, whose ears can detect the flutter of butterflies' wings 1,000 worlds away. But for the fabled realm itself, there are no words, there is no way. It is truly beyond description. So these panels here, this one on page 2, and then all the panels here on page 3, they're just indescribably cool. Kirby at his best, his most creative, his most powerful. And the Bill Everett inks are so rich, so full, and they really bring the Kirby pencils to life. I truly regret that the colorist was not credited and for this issue or for any of these early issues from the 70s, because if it was Marie Severin or if it was someone else in the bullpen, they did a fabulous job. This is great. The way the colorist melds in Thor, which Kirby and Everett expertly illustrate here, mixed in, his visage mixed in with that of the universe, is just phenomenal. The use of the green hues, it's just really nice. And I wonder how this would represent, this Rainbow Bridge would represent in a non-newsprint title. I'm a huge fan of newsprint, but I think perhaps maybe the color has failed us here a little bit. But yeah, this is great. So then Thor he's just going to give him a little bit of sugar. He can't give him any more. And they insist, and he just basically bails. Fie upon it! 'Tis easier by far to flee some unearthly menace than such as they. Though truth to tell, I find their spirit, their enthusiasm, not unpleasing. But Thor has to become Don Blake again, because remember, this is that long period of decades where Thor is actually, he has an alter ego, the lame Don Blake, lame in more ways than one, Dr. Blake, and he is going to give this patient some good news about his medical condition. But at that very instant, relatively speaking, in another universe, an incalculable distance away, two valiant riders are about to begin an incredible adventure, one which will soon affect Don Blake and all who live from here to infinity. We have at last reached the dreaded land of Ringjaford, fair Sif. 'Tis here noble Odin said the dark enchanters would be found. Though the omnipotent one be living truth, my heart prays that he hath this time erred. For the enchanters 3 do truly roam the land once more, then Asgard itself faces peril most dire. Their power most foul comes from beyond the realm, and is said to be the equal of Odin's own. Balder, look to thy mount. The very ground below doth erupt beneath our feet. 'Tis the enchanters, my lady. They have found us. Abandon thy steed. Upon our feet alone is a measure of safety now to be found. So they are in this far realm, and the enchanters are manifesting. This is incredible here, where this out of the energy, the magical energy, this visage forms. Behold! Within yon cloud, a face is formed. I am the spirit of the living talisman which do serve 3 enchanters. And I am Balder, warrior of Asgard. Be the enchanters so cowardly that they send naught but an empty cloud to oppose us? Do not seek to anger him, my lord. The talisman are possessed of power beyond our comprehension. No matter, the gauntlet hath been flung. Now stand we fast. Really great here. Love Kirby's ability to render this Asgardian raiment, the armor, the weapons, and of course, Stan laying it on thick with the dialogue and the exposition. And the talisman does in fact have more than just a wispy intangible form to present. Warrior, thou art a fool. Thou hast called me an empty cloud, but my masters have the power to give me a far more substantial form. Such is the way of the enchanters. Now thou shalt feel the might of the talisman. Not whilst Balder possesses the speed to evade thy blow. Back, creature of darkness, back to the Stygian shadows from whence thou came. Nay, fair Sif, thy sword cannot prevail against one such as he. My sword strikes for Asgard, as it ever shall. Bah, must the talisman's matchless strength be squandered against a female? Never whilst Balder lives. Try though I may, I cannot get within striking distance. I cannot reach my foe. His bludgeon is too swift, too large. Then it shall be a bludgeon no more. The time has passed for waiting. Now must Balder strike. Awesome panel as he shatters the creature's weapon. Thou hast shattered my bludgeon. Thus I must now crush thee with the weight of my body, the strength of my limbs. Brave one, do not despair. Sif shall strike again. Nay, woman, stand thee back. What must thou be done shall Balder do alone, for Asgard and honor eternal. Balder, thou hast bested him with but a single blow. Aye, though the worst is yet to be. See how he vanishes in but a sudden flash. Now the enchanters must surely will appear. And we're about to see them here. But before I turn the page, Kirby is just a master of this straight-on panel here where you get to see sort of the side shot of the action. Just really great. He would repeat this over and over the years and every time with expert execution. And again, I can't talk enough about these Bill Everett inks, really delineating Kirby's pencils and just making them pop and giving them a richness and a depth that we didn't always see with Kirby's art. And turn the page, look at this full page shot of our three main villains, the enchanters. And what's great, the one thing that unifies them is they have this magical talisman, which Kirby illustrates here as this incredible evil-looking face they wear on their chests and almost like a medallion. And they are Magnir, in company with my fellows, Forsong and Brana. Remember those names and tremble, Asgardian, for we are the three who soon shall humble Odin himself. For countless ages we have been content to rule our own domain, but we be content no longer. We three, who wear the living talisman, possess power beyond measure, power enow to conquer all who live. For ours is the limitless power of the enchanters. Why waste words on such as they? We can destroy them with a word, with the slightest glance. So here they trap them in this mire. Do mine ears deceive me? Hath the steadfast Sif abandoned hope? Nay, most loyal Balder, but I do not plan for our escape through use of mine own. But I do but plan for our escape through use of my own special power. Of course, the divine right by, as goddess born, the power to bypass this time and space. Now, with my fingers touching thine, beneath the thickening bog, we shall be gone. This is a great panel. So, Sif, it's cool. Every now and then, it's subtle sometimes, but you get to see that these Asgardians do possess magical abilities beyond just their physical powers, being stronger and more resistant to injury than humans. They are creatures of magic or super science, depending on how you look at it, because Stan kind of played close and loose with that. And we get to see that in the cinematic versions as well. Faster than mortal mind can comprehend, faster than the speed of thought itself, two gallant figures pierce the fabric of infinity as they hurtle forwards. So they arrive on Earth. They're down the streets of New York, presumably, and Don Blake's working in his doctor's office. and he closes the window because all the he isn't aware that they're there, but they're causing quite a clamor. And this cop who's walking his beat, just to get them out of the way, is going to try to help them. Say, come to think of it, there is a Dr. Blake nearby. He's managed to get in touch with that long-haired hammer tosser before. Then you must take us to him while there is still time. Sure, lady, sure. I'll take you anywhere, if it'll get things back to normal on my beat again. Even if the doc can't tell you where to find Thor, maybe he can recommend a good head shrinker for the two of you. What? Dost thou think us mad? Walking around town in get-ups like that? Perish forbid. While back at the somber land of Ringjaford, they have done as the living talisman predicted. They have fled to find the Thunder God and enlist his support. Let us then proceed according to plan. Brana and I shall follow them, so that all three may be destroyed, whilst I set forth for Asgard, there to vanquish Odin. Have a care. Pursuing, thou art but one. Aye, but am I not an enchanter? So they're going to split their forces, and we're going to see two of the enchanters on Earth. So it's interesting. They eventually go to Don Blake's office, and they, at this point, it's early on. Remember, this started with Journey into Mystery 127, this whole thing. That's when Thor's alter ego was created by Odin. And so this is Thor 143, which kept the same numbering, remember. So at this point, most Asgardians don't know that Thor has a mortal alter ego. So they don't know that Don Blake is Thor. Unhand her, mortal. None may touch she whom the god of thunder hath chosen. None indeed, save one. Stand back, and you'll see why I know you both. Fatum! 'Tis you, my lord, we have found the thunder god. My heart is gladdened at the very sight of thee, for thou art two whom I hold most dear. Take heed, mighty one. We have come to warn thee of danger most deadly. So, Thor and they let Thor know the enchanters are about, but also Sif and Thor kind of renew their love and passion for each other. And here I think Stan was working an angle that he later abandoned, because whilst humble Balder is now forgot. So it seems that after Sif professes her love for Thor, Balder is kind of a little bit jealous. And there were dangling plot lines in many of the books Stan was writing that kind of suggest romances that he might have developed and then abandoned. There was, of course, the famous and weird one between Professor X and Jean Grey, but this is just another one here. Later on, Balder develops his own sort of separate relationship with Karnilla, Queen of the Norns, and so this is kind of forgotten. But we'll finish up here. Though they be too generous by far, the words do surely warm my heart. But what of thee, loyal Balder? Why standest thou so silent? Hast thou no rallying cry upon this eve of battle? Nay, Thunder God, I have much to think upon. And as noble Balder gazes somberly ahead, two flashing objects streak through the sky, finally landing and reshaping themselves into the awesome figures of the enchanters. Next, Battleground Earth. There's so much Kirby crackle in this issue. It's just tremendous. I love the use of the green, too. Again, kudos to our uncredited colorist. And so here, we turn a couple of pages, and we get Tales of Asgard, which was a frequent backup in these early Thor stories, and later reprised by DeFalco and friends in their long and cool run on Thor. And you can see immediately Kirby's pencils look a little different because it's Vince Colletta inking him. Now, this is great right here, but the figure work itself, while good, it just doesn't have the same power that the Bill Everett inked Kirby pencils do. Even if you look at this visage of Thor here, and let's just go back and compare to See if we have another close one. We may not have another close one to really. Let's go back toward the beginning of the book. Yeah, I just feel that this is a little bit stronger than what we're getting here. And just overall, I think the figure work with Bill Everett's inks ends up a finished product looking a little better. This is a fantastic full page shot, though. Really nice. And just proof that even though maybe Vince Colletta is not my cup of tea for inking on Kirby, he's still fantastic. And this still looks great. It's just a different finished product. So what a treat to look at this in this nice newsprint format. And of course, 19 would be a great one to go through too, simply because it's the first wrecker. And I may do that at some later date. But really great stories here. This is the stuff that built the Marvel Universe. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our journey through Marvel Spectacular number 14 featuring the Mighty Thor. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.